Quick lessons from books, Cynical Theories by Helen Pluckrose and James Lindsay, how universities made everything about race, gender, and identity, and why this harms everybody. Very good book, very academic. This is not the book to start out with if you're trying to understand the woke phenomena in our country. I would say Madness of Crowds would be number one. Diversity Delusion would be number two. Those are by Douglas Murray and Heather McDonald. This would be for the people that really want to understand. This book dives deep into the actual literature that started critical race theory, that started all these different gender studies. It goes into the actual text, and these texts are ridiculous. But this is a very important book, not a beginner's book, but we're going to take out one section here which everyone can understand, and this is the focus on cognitive dissonance, which is an important part of my channel, trying to take advantage of these moments of cognitive dissonance. That is where someone has difficulty accepting what you believe to be true is actually false. You have this belief that you've believed in, and then all of a sudden the facts present themselves that challenge what it is that you've always believed in, and you have that choice. Accept the facts and abandon your beliefs that you hold on to, that you cherish, or ignore the facts and hang on to your beliefs, which are probably irrational and not logical. We can often see this compared to being red-pilled, if we want to use the Matrix. Cognitive dissonance is where, okay, I want to know the truth. Truth. I'm willing to abandon my beliefs. I'm willing to accept that everything I've known my entire life, it could be wrong because the facts, logic, reason says otherwise. That is one route. Now, the other route is you take the blue pill and you try to fight the cognitive dissonance. You try to fight the facts. You try to ignore the facts. So we're going to talk about cognitive dissonance. And in this book, they talk about the origination or who coined the term. It was Leon Festinger. And what he studied was cults that were fascinated by UFOs. So he kind of infiltrated a cult and studied the people and their belief systems. And this is how he came up with the idea of cognitive dissonance, or really just disharmony, when your thinking becomes in a state of disharmony or dissonance. And that is like the facts, beliefs, and how people wrestle with that. How do they get back to a state of harmony? Do they get to a state of harmony by accepting the facts, or do they get to a state of harmony by finding a way to continue to believe and ignoring the facts? So when he studies this group, there's a cult leader who tells the people that these UFOs are going to come and they're going to take us all away, and recruits a bunch of people. And these people quit their jobs, they leave their homes, they leave their spouses, they leave their children to join this cult and to prepare to be taken up by a UFO. And so Festinger kind of infiltrates or joins with this group because he wants to find out what's going to happen. What happens to this cult when the UFO doesn't show up? He is interested to find out, how are these people going to deal with, they have this belief that they're going to be taken to another universe. And when it doesn't happen, are they going to stay with that belief? Or will they accept the facts and move on and pick up the pieces, maybe convince their wives or husbands, can you please take me back? I made a mistake, How will they get through the cognitive dissonance or the disharmony in their brain? How do they do it? Some people, the red pill people, or maybe the normal thinkers, the UFO doesn't come, the cognitive dissonance happens, and they say, whoops, I guess I'll find another job or whatever. I was wrong. They're willing to accept the facts. They don't double down on their beliefs. Some people stay with the blue pill, and some people will wrestle against the facts, ignore the facts, and try to find a way to rationalize how they can continue to believe that, well, no, the UFO is still going to come. And this is what Festinger was fascinated by. So the UFO doesn't come. The cognitive dissonance happens. And one of the first things that the group does, the people that are trying to fight the cognitive dissonance, the people that are trying to hold on to their beliefs, the first thing they did was try to recruit more members, which seems crazy. Why would you try to go proselytize and bring more people in when you are clearly wrong and it didn't happen? And the theory, or at least what he studies, is the more people they bring in, the more the people believe in it, then the members can tell themselves, well, if all these people are believing in this, and all these people are still willing to accept it, and then something's right, then it's got to be right. Yeah, I know the UFO didn't come, but look at all these members. Look at all these people that still believe. And so you have this kind of social harmony. Remember, it's Festinger talks about how it's the dissonance and how the people tried to get rid of the dissonance or get rid of the disharmony and create consonance. And one of the ways that you can do that, or stop the fighting and the arguing in your head, is to lean on your group, lean on your social support. That will create harmony. Yeah, the facts say you're wrong, but all my friends here, they say I'm right. And so that can fight the cognitive dissonance. That's one of the things that happens in these cults. The second thing that Festinger recognized was when the UFO doesn't come and the cognitive dissonance happens, yes, they try to get more members in. But the other thing that they do is they just come up with new ideas. They come up with new rules. They say, oh yeah, the UFO or the world was supposed to end on May 21st, 2011, and I spent my life savings on these billboards, and then it didn't happen. Well, either you come with the realization that I was wrong, or you double down and say, well, actually, the world's supposed to end in 2022. Yeah, that was it. We just got the numbers mixed around. And you write new rules and you create new things that contradict the facts so that you can keep believing. Actually, I was right all along. And so that's the two things that we see under cognitive dissonance. The people that are not red-pilled, or the people that don't accept that they were wrong, they'll just find group social support to help them hang on to their beliefs and ignore the facts. And then they'll also just rewrite the rules. And they'll go crazy with the layer upon layer of nonsense that they'll add up to fight back the facts, fight back reality, and create their own reality. Now, it's not just cults, even though this is also going to be a cult. So if you're thinking, oh, well, cognitive dissonance is just cults, whatever. Yeah, but cults exist in a lot of other forms. And that's what we see in Cynical Theories. Liberal feminist activists have led to tremendous progress towards the legal, professional, and social equity of the sexes, to the point that there is relatively little feminist activism to do. Sorry, that would be a typo. What are you going to do? But that's the point, that if you compare it now to hundreds of years ago, tremendous gains have been made for women. And if you look at the facts and you look at the data and you just have a rational approach to life, you will see that, yeah, sure, nothing is ever going to be completely equal. But when you look at law, it's about as equal as it can get. And you look at economic factors, you look at all the situations throughout America, you're going to see that, yeah, you're right. For the most part, feminism has won. They won the war. They won the battle. It is over. There really isn't much more to fight for. But just like a general who's won all the wars, what's that general going to do? Go home, go to bed, go to sleep? Or is that general going to try to find new battles to fight? And that's what we see here is, instead of, oh yeah, here are the facts, here are my beliefs. How do I, you know what? In the end, it's over. I just move on. Instead, what happens, instead of today modern feminist activists saying that, yeah, it's all pretty much good, we've solved all the problems, instead of accepting those facts, they want to hang on to the belief that there is this patriarchy that is tearing us all down, and so they have to find a way through that cognitive dissonance. The facts are that life's pretty equal. You take the red pill, or you take the blue pill, and you find a way to fight through the facts so that you can continue to believe that there is a patriarchy. And so now, if you want to hang on to that patriarchy belief, that men are oppressing women nonstop in this matrix of intersectionality, you have to find a way to rationalize that to fight the real facts. And so you're going to lean on the support, and you're going to make up new rules. And so we see this cognitive dissonance where in a normal person, you say, yeah, you know what? Look, it looks like everything is pretty much equal. And there's a lot of data that supports it. And this patriarchy thing just seems like something that you're hanging on to, that you're making up. But if you take the blue pill, you can fight your way through this. And you can fight your way through cognitive dissonance by coming up with your own new rules. And that's what these theories are in Cynical Theories. The critical race theory, all the different gender studies issues, they go through it, they lay it all out. And these are just new explanations and new ways to fight through the cognitive dissonance, to ignore the reality that is out there, to add all these layers to support the belief system and to keep the belief system going on. So just like the cult, when the UFO doesn't take you up. You believed forever in this cult and this UFO was going to take us away, just like you believed forever that the reason that there's problems is because of this patriarchy. But when the facts present themselves like, oh, well, there really wasn't a patriarchy. There really isn't these men secretly oppressing through. No, there wasn't. There isn't. So you can either accept that and move forward, or through that cognitive dissonance, you just start writing new rules, like these intersectional matrix of oppression, which you can read all about in the book, and all these different woke theories and ideas that are simply just new ways to rationalize and to support your belief system and to ignore reality. And then the second part is, well, you just need to indoctrinate all of the university students to believe in this. And if all of the university students believe in these woke theories that are not supported by rigorous peer-reviewed research, and if we all just accept these harebrained schemes, well, if everyone else believes in it, it must be true. And that's where we get this connection of cults and critical theory and how they're not much different than each other. And it all just comes down to cognitive dissonance. Whereas instead of just saying, oh, my belief is wrong because the facts, because the scientific method has proven that my beliefs are wrong, instead, we reject facts. We see the blue-pilled woke rejecting the scientific method, rejecting science, rejecting rational, logical, reasoned approaches of thinking, and just create their own ways of thinking, and then getting more people to believe into it so that you can fight through the disharmony. You can fight through the dissonance and create the consonance, create this new reality. So that's critical or a cognitive dissonance, how cults and how you see these different intersectionality disciplines going along the same routes. And you can get a lot more in-depth information on this if you go to read Cynical Theories by Helen Pluckrose, James Lindsay. I'm not trying to dissuade you from reading this, but I really would encourage you to read some of the other texts first before you get into this thing. This is not a 101 course. This is 201, 301, graduate level nonsense. And reading the actual text, part of the challenge in Cynical Theories by Helen Pluckrose and James Lindsay is translating the nonsense written by the neo-postmodern, neo-Marxist, which is just, it's almost gobbledygook. It really is. It's fascinating to see the games they play with words. But check it out. There it is. That's Cognitive Dissonance. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that made sense.